Okay, welcome back to the podcast. My next guest is Randy Zinni. Zinni, I might be pronouncing that wrong. And the episode is called Hear About Being a Man. Randy is going to talk to us about transitioning to the male gender. And there are a lot of ways to talk about this completely wrong or wrongly. Fortunately, I know Randy from college, and he's always been pretty cool. Please welcome Randy Zinni. Um, ugh, too much coffee today. I'm all jittery. All right, so hey, do you have your audio on? I can't hear you yet.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Awesome. How you doing,
So
man? Good to see you.
I'm good. It's been a minute.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. This
Cool.
name is wrong here. That's wait, are we recording? Did you already introduce me
I
yet?
hope so. Yeah, we're recording. Yeah, I did, I did your intro thing.
Sorry, it's got my partner's name on it, not mine. So
Um,
sorry.
I don't know if it shows up or not. I don't think it does.
All right,
Um,
whatever. Uh,
yeah, whatever. All right, so thanks so much for coming on. And so we just start with like a couple warm-up questions. Do you have any hobbies? You anything you
I do. I have a lot of obviously play video games, but I collect video games and stuff like that. Um, but I lift weights. Like I like powerlifting a lot. I
Oh
do a lot
wow,
of hiking, a lot of traveling.
nice.
Obviously not right now because
Yeah.
there's nothing going on. But yeah, I'm very like outdoorsy. That's kind of like my thing. But right
Right
now I
on.
just bought a house, so I do a lot of housework. That's kind of my hobby now.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, like I thought once you had a house, you were like set, but everyone who has a house, they just start their hobby is working on the house.
Yeah, no, there's like all these bags around me and stuff. Like I haven't even fully moved in yet, so like house projects has been my go-to. So, but other than that, everything is kind of it's like screen oriented because of
I
COVID.
know. Big
I've been
time.
playing lots of video games and stuff.
Yeah,
That's
what kind of games do you play?
I mean, I'm
'Cause
replaying Skyrim right now for like I don't know, like the fifth time.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
that's
always I always get like literally trapped in the side quests when I play those games.
that's all I've been doing. That's the whole thing. It's COVID, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna complete this game. I'm gonna
I'm gonna
side quest, and like I've probably done like two story missions, and I'm level 30. So
yeah, that's perfect. Oh man. Yeah. For me, games, you know the Jack and Daxter series?
yeah, yeah, I do remember that one.
That's where I'm at.
Yep. Word.
So oh, and so for travel, any dream destinations that you got to cross off the list?
I mean, so my partner's from Poland. Like she was born there, so
Uh-huh.
got family there, and we want to go to like the mountains over there, in like southern Poland. So I want to go climb some of those mountains. Um, no, I want to go to Alaska for sure. That's like one of my big next stop.
Big
Uh,
time. Those are
yeah,
great picks. Yeah. I
yeah,
I wanted to do Alaska forever, like everybody I'm so glad we're having this conversation because like every guy I know toys with Alaska specifically,
yeah.
you know.
Alaska, sick.
Yeah, big
There's
time.
lots going on. That's another thing I've been doing during COVID is I watch like what's his name? I watch Bear Grylls all the time, just like go to places because I'm like I can't
Yeah.
I want to eat this fish like raw.
Yeah, raw fish is on the list too. I hear you can actually cook raw fish with just like lime juice, basically.
Yeah, you
Just like,
can.
yeah, I got to do that. I got to do that. Poland is great. There's like I just tried like the Poland version of a Boston cream donut. It's like
A punchki.
uh yes, that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
A par
punchki.
Hoshki.
Yeah,
Cool.
well, it's kind of hard to pronounce. It's like I only
Yeah,
know because again, my partner's Polish, so like her family makes them, and
right.
like they're always trying to get us to come over and eat them, and I just I just know that one pretty well. A
Oh man, I could really get into that, so I might move on. But you're you're Polish as well, right? You have
little
heritage
bit.
a little bit. Okay.
I'm
All right.
mostly so.
So first and foremost, before we get into the interview, what are your personal pronouns, and what are your partner's personal pronouns? Just so.
You can use he or they for me, and
Mhm.
then my partner goes by she. So
Nice. All right, right on.
or
And
no,
then
they works too for her. She won't be offended.
okay, cool, cool, right on. All right, so and I just wanted to go into your work life a little bit. You work in manufacturing, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Um,
Sort of 100%. Yeah. I work for Sikorsky, so
uh,
um, I've been working from home this whole time. Like,
right.
um,
So
yeah, whatever questions about that.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I think people would be surprised to know that like you have computer work to do in manufacturing, and like what
Oh,
does that involve?
there's so much. Like,
Uh,
actually, today was so like crazy because basically anything that is done physically on the floor, like those guys are still there working. So
yeah,
since I'm a manufacturing engineer, anything they do, I am involved in some capacity, and
right,
for the most part, it's reworks. So when something gets messed up, they need instructions to do a repair or a rework of the part. So
right,
I've been writing all those from home, and everything we do is like 100% in real time. So it's like we have Skype, we have email, like everybody's just, I probably have like 200 emails a day, just like of
wow,
traffic, like whatever's going on the floor. I'm almost 100% in it, just not physically.
right, right. There was a time where you were in it physically, though, right?
Oh yeah, I mean before COVID, it's like I'm always on the shop floor. Like
Right,
I'm always working with them, and like I make processes better. I'll get them new tools. I'll design tools and stuff. Um, but basically, I am not. I don't run machines. I don't physically make parts anymore. I was an inspector before I became an engineer, so like I kind of worked my way in.
right,
Um, but now it's just like whenever somebody needs something, it's they come get a manufacturing engineer because it's kind of like you're the overseer of like the process of making
right.
it start to
Yeah,
finish.
totally. And so while we were sort of setting up this interview, I found out your work can involve like sudden changes where you have to go in at night, right?
Um, I don't do that anymore.
Mm,
It used to at my
yeah.
work, and for the most part, if you lay down the law, you don't have to come in at night. Uh, you just have to kind of be forceful on the manager and stuff. So I don't go in at night. We have a second shift, and we overlap with each other. So like we have
Got it.
time.
Okay.
But there's second and third shift at Sikorsky, like at
Right.
all. So
Right. And like second is like 6 to 11, and third is like 11 to 7 a.m., something like
second
that.
it is two to 11, or well, we actually do 10-hour days, 4 10-hour days a week. So we
Hmm.
got second shift. We'll do like 2 to midnight or something, and third
Right.
shift will come in and they'll do like um 12 to like 9 or 10 in the morning.
Word. All right. I'd better get into it. I got a little distracted there.
Cool. I thought you were actually doing the interview. Now I'm like, oh, okay.
No, we're on. It's all good. No, we are.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm gathering my thoughts here a little bit. I do have a question about your workout changes too since COVID. Like, do you go to the gym anymore? What are you doing?
I am now only at very like weird times when nobody is there. Um,
Totally.
and I like sanitize everything. They have a lot of sanitation going on, and but I was doing like I basically got like I have a bench at home. I have
Yeah.
some weights. I don't have anything like crazy heavy,
Yeah.
but I also have a push up board that like has handles, and you adjust the handles for like targeting different areas.
Oh,
Like,
that's dope.
yeah, like on your back and your chest and stuff. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I was. It really sucked when COVID started. I also like got top surgery in that time, so like I couldn't lift for solid like 2 months, and then it was like
Yeah.
very light lifting, and then as soon as like I could lift, it was like the gyms were like just opening again, and then they were like, all right, we got to close again. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, those are actually the things that trip you up the most when you're working out is like even if you get like a cold and you're like, I guess I shouldn't go to a gym today, and then boom, then your whole schedule is messed up.
Yeah, and then you like you start getting lazy and being
Yeah,
like, I'm not gonna go today either, and then
yeah. It's literally that easy. Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at. I'm gonna pick up a new workout hopefully in the next couple days. Um, So I'm really glad you were down to do this. I'm reading off the things so I'm screwed. I'm really glad you're down to do this because it's sort of a great opportunity to talk about what it means to be a man today. Does it mean anything? Should it mean anything? What does it mean to you? Really, everything about it. So let's start off with the basic first step, which is when did you realize this truth about yourself and then decide to do something about it?
well, so a lot of people they expect like some kind of big story behind it and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
like in actuality, it's something that I've known forever and have kind of like molded my like how I grew as a person for the last almost 30 years of like when I was a kid, I did all these things that helped with coping with like life, I guess, of just not ever feeling correct. Like all my friends were dudes. I got this really like toxic masculinity that I built myself because I didn't know what it meant to be like accepted by like other guys, because it just that was kind of what I was always going for, but just the semantics of it when you're young is like you don't understand that stuff. You just know that you feel wrong and you don't really know why, and you have a lot of issues that like develop because of that with your relationships with people
Yeah.
and trusting people. And like I was bullied all the time because I was a tomboy, considered a tomboy when I was younger.
Yeah.
So like I knew back then, when I was like fifth grade or whatever, and like earlier, you know,
Uh,
my parents knew too. Like my mom told me when I was an adult, like, and I started coming out,
yeah.
gay, which then turned into like transgender.
Right.
I just kind of started. It was not until I started reflecting on myself as an adult and like where things I do come from that I started realizing that a lot of it was coming from like just this crazy reckoning with my gender, and like being gay was like a step in it. So
Hmm.
like it was not until I was probably like 22 that I really started being like, wait, why do I have to keep doing these things that I don't feel I connect
Right.
with? I don't owe this to anybody, and like I'm miserable. So why, and I just from there started picking apart things about myself that like it's like you finding yourself kind of like when you're
Yeah.
in your 20s,
Hmm.
but slowly that becomes more and more of like a crippling, you can't hide it anymore when you're that age because you're like
Wow.
there's no constrictions, there's no like
Yeah, there's
I
nothing. Yeah.
don't have school to go to, like
Yeah.
it's all done.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm an adult now. Now I need to
Right.
do things like internally,
Hmm.
there's no goals that are being set. It's how I set them. So I went to part of that process was like, starting therapy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I went to like I just remember like all my relationships with people were just really suffering because
Wow.
I mean I'm I got like mental illness and stuff too, but like
Yeah.
so I've always been kind of on the outside of like social norms, but it wasn't really until I started like getting treatment for that stuff that I started making connections myself. And like I went to an EMDR specialist, and like she was able to just very quickly like figure out that I was experiencing all this like crazy infighting with myself and
Wow. A
like
what specialist?
self EMDR.
Okay.
It's it's like a special form of therapy where they kind of like I guess it's mostly used for people with like PTSD issues or like some kind of mental illness thing. And like
Hmm.
I was going because I have ADHD and like OCD, and I just was like, you know, I had a lot of behavior problems that I couldn't figure out why I was like so angry all the time. So
Yeah.
it actually
Yeah.
started with it came back to I had a lot of problems with like gender related trauma from when I was younger. So
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
because a lot of your experience is just like hiding things and not understanding why, and like
Right.
uh, you know part of that process was being somebody you're not, and that stuff really takes a toll on
Yeah.
some learning
Wa-
about the world. So
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
so that's where
right. Well, first of all, toxic masculinity, I mean, talk about a super spreader event, right? So,
seriously, once you start learning that shit, it's like a drug, you're just like being aggressive and mean is being masculine. So it's like
yeah.
you're a fucking asshole to people. I don't know if I can swear, but like you're fucking asshole to people, and you're just like, yeah, I'm a dude.
Deal with it. Your face. um,
Where that came from for me. So like I had a lot of behavioral issues that were like coinciding with my how I saw myself and my gender. So that stuff's all being unraveled now, which is great because I feel so much
yeah.
happier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really sucked.
Yeah. And then I feel like the next phase is and then you're trying to like sort of like emotionally outsmart everyone. Just like, well, I've dealt with that problem. So like,
Yeah, you're like whatever.
yeah. Cool. Very cool. That was really, really, really eye-opening. And then so again, if I overstep with any questions, we don't have to go there, but how often do you have to take, say, like testosterone supplements to maintain your lifestyle?
I figured you were gonna say that, so I'm okay with answering most
I
things.
just I just walked right into a cliche probably or
I use a gel. So what I do is I apply a gel every night. It comes in like a pre-measured packets, and I've been
Cool.
using that for almost 2 years now. Um, Most people like doing shots because the gel is it's it's got like its ups and downs. Like it's messy, and I have to do it every day. Whereas like if you do like a shot, you can do it like maybe once every 2 weeks or something. But you get a little
Right.
more of a emotional roller coaster with your mood with shots. So I do gel because it's a much more like it's more like this. It's like a stable incline of your
Wow.
changes. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I
Cool.
do.
Cool. All right, right on. Yeah, that sounds like kind of the obvious choice, honestly. Like
Right.
the one that's better for your mood overall.
Yeah,
Um,
right. I don't
it's
feel crazy or anything, so
yeah, it
I
sounds
can
like
from shots.
yeah, it sounds easier by far. Um, so I was thinking a lot about this talk we were going to have beforehand because the other day I went out to get a sandwich with mustard in it. And I was just like thinking over everything. I wound up buying all these things that in my mind are like cliche guy snacks. I got shredded cheddar cheese from Vermont. I got a box of donuts. I didn't get pistachios, but I got beef jerky. And I also got spicy artificial cheese snacks. So I was wondering if you had your own version of guy cliches and if you had any that you were looking forward to um, while you were making the transition.
Do you mean like food or do you mean anything?
I mean, anything. Yeah, yeah. But food, definitely. I want to know like what your snacks are for sure.
So I absolutely have the uh, guy stereotype of like so certain things that bothered me or irritated me before that were like small things no
Mhm.
longer bother me at all. Like I could barely be like moved by by a lot of things that irritated me or like made me cry or something. Like my sensitivity is like much more manageable today. But like yeah, it's you cry about something or like hurt for sure. Like even if somebody were to walk by and like spit on me and be like, all right, no, that sucks. But like I do feel a little bit of like the um certain things can be like more you know how I guess I would say like men are like quick to jump on a fight, like ready to go at all times. Like I'm fucking ready to go, but I'm like quietly ready to go. Like I'm ready to rumble. Like I got all this energy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't know if that's from mood or if it's from testosterone, but I know for a fact that like when I started taking it, I was like a big part of the gym thing is like you got to go to the gym because you feel like you just got so much to burn.
Wow, rad. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I used to feel that way. Like actually, so that's a question I didn't have written down, but was curious about. What does it feel like to become an older man? Like,
right,
like a year later, 2 years later, as opposed
dude.
to when you,
Yeah, it's kind of wild because it is kind of like expedited puberty almost. So like I definitely went through like say like 15-year-old boy puberty at
wow.
28 years old. Like
Yeah.
that was a strange experience because I was also like working in the workplace like normal and
Uh-huh.
I was changing some things and then people were kind of catching on but
Right.
not. So it's like I'm because I'm older, I don't go through like the weird my social transition is a bit different than if I were like say in college, you know, where
Mhm.
college it's I feel like I almost kind of say like damn this sucks that I missed this opportunity in college because it would have been so much easier to deal with at that time because you're not a working adult. You don't have to explain things to people to like 50-year-olds, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a real walk back, I guess. Like,
when I started changing my name on, like, I changed my name on all my programs in my email and stuff, and
uh-huh.
I'd be on like emails with people, and some like old dude would reply and be like, "Randy, who's Randy?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whatever.
I gotta
What?
explain to them like what's going on, or I gotta explain to my boss or my coworkers like
Yeah,
like
yeah. I
weird
mean,
stuff.
like, whatever. whatever you consider yourself on a gender spectrum, like changing your name, like I just did a different name for my social media for a while, and like th- that became so dramatic. Like
Right.
people people thinking I actually had like a weird last name or something like that. Not or well, whatever. Just like a fake, actually thinking like my fake last name was my real last name. And
Yeah.
then me realizing that I can't, fault them for that and like all that stuff. Yeah, like
Right.
um
You have to be very forgiving of people or you will go insane if you're working and you have people coming up to you all the time. You have people, like even I don't know, like maybe a month ago, I went in and saw some people I haven't seen in a year at work, and I'm
mhm,
talking to like a supervisor who he hasn't seen me in a year because of COVID. So
yeah,
all my changes have taken place at home basically, and
yeah.
so I like went to him and I was like, "Hey, you needed me for something," and he's just like while he's talking to me, and like I can see his face, just like, "Whoa, what?" But, like
Yeah,
it's like faux pas to be like,
you
"Yo, what
just kind of
happened?"
want to you just kind of want to move right through it, I imagine,
Right.
right?
I just bust right through it, and then if
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
somebody has a question, like they'll ask me or they'll ask
Yeah.
somebody else, and then I know they're doing that too.
Somebody else.
I know they're doing that too because the I get an email from them or like I come to them or something, they're like dead on with my name or like pronouns or whatever. So like I know that people are talking about it for sure, and it doesn't bother me because it like part of social transition is that like it affects how other people interact with you, and like you said, like I can't
Mhm.
fault people for not knowing this stuff. It's not like I put out an email like, "Hey y'all, this is my
Yeah,
life. Here's this
yeah,
very personal information about me." Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh, yeah,
Well, for forgiveness is the toughest thing for me, and I think a lot of people. So it's pretty cool to hear you say that you have to be forgiving. That's,
I, you can not be forgiving. It's just gonna make your life very, very harder to deal with. And I think a big part of coping with being trans is being forgiving of people because it just if I were to get upset every time somebody did something wrong, I would be a very unhappy person. And like I don't want to be like that. Part of this whole transition thing is like, this is temporary that I'm going through this very like I kind of blend in already. This is just
yeah.
because people knew me before, so
Hmm.
they're just confused. But
Hmm.
like once things get rolling on that, it's like most people don't even have a problem with it.
Yeah. I want to pick up on a couple extra things that you said. I know you talked about being forgiving, which is great. Um, but you mentioned like blending in. Some people, from certain demographics, they have an actual problem with the concept of blending in, right?
Yeah, I do understand that
Mm,
part. 'Cause, like I went through something similar to that, like when I first started coming out, and I still to an extent like grapple with these feelings where I'm like,
sure.
okay, I am different because I'm not part of the men's club, and nor do I want to be. But the way I see it is like, so if I do blend in, which I do,
Yeah.
it's more of a revolutionary kind of movement for me where I'm trying to use my new power as like a cis man to kind
Hmm.
of speak up for people that would not normally be talked about in those groups. So like if somebody's like dunking on somebody for being like a woman or something,
Yeah.
I could shut that down with like my newfound privilege here. So
Yeah.
like for that reason alone, I like to blend in. I also blend in because I think it's easier on me because I don't feel like I need people to understand me or know who I am or anything. Because and I think that might be because I'm more of a curmudgeon because I'm like, oh almost 30, and I'm just like,
You're a grizzled.
don't talk.
Like, yeah.
I'm like, I do not want to be your friend. I don't care who you are. Like, I'm more of like I'm more reserved now that I'm a little older. But when I was younger, I was very much like, very open about this stuff, which I still am. But like, I don't, I'm not trying to present in a way that people can look at me and be like, that's a transgender man. I
Yeah.
want to look at me and just say, I don't know who that is, nor do I care. Like, whatever you
Who the
want.
fuck is that guy?
Yeah, like, think whatever you want. You got a problem with my gender, whatever, keep it to yourself. Like, if
Yeah.
it's me, then I'm just going to be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
How about
yeah.
you?
What is cis, by the way? I literally keep forgetting.
Oh, it means cisgender. So it means, some people think this is an insult for some reason, but it's just a scientific term for somebody who is comfortable in the gender they were born in and identifies as that gender.
Yeah.
So,
I
like a normal dude.
yeah. I want to flex some of my gay straight alliance knowledge real quick.
You got that there.
Yeah, right. That's um uh ally. No, I'm just kidding. So uh actually one of the seminars I went to, they were trying out this pronoun called Z, like ZIE, I think. Is that
Yeah.
still around?
Yeah, that's definitely still around. So I have some like groups I've been in on Facebook about like transgender education and things like that, and like
Hmm.
I do know that there's always people are always pushing toward the future. So like as groups get accepted, like transgender is more accepted now than it was like even 2 years ago. Um,
Yeah,
and like as that continues, like people will continue pushing for things that
just more. Yeah.
just more and more. And I have no problems with people like using certain pronouns and stuff like that. If somebody is more comfortable with something and they tell you, then it's like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. Like,
Yeah.
and like I don't want to, you know, I would never want to like harm anybody knowingly if they
Yeah.
believe something in particular. So like I know some people do feel that way, and like for example, I use they them outside of work. That's what I'm most comfortable with. But like when I'm in work, I use he because I'm like, man, I don't have the fucking time of day to explain this to every single person that wants to know, why do you use they as your pronouns? Like, I'm not going to be correcting people on that. That's just so exhausting. So, like, but when I'm at home, I kind of say it as like it's a double life kind of thing. Like, when I'm at home, all my close friends use they, like, and they have no problem with it. So,
Right.
like, it's just for us, it's more normal to be gender neutral than it is to like gender something specifically because it's just not as inclusive. So, like, I always
Mhm.
thought they them kind of encompassed like a Z zer kind of thing, but I
Okay.
think that if somebody feels something specific is very like specific to them, and they say they want to be called that, then like I'd be like, yeah, whatever.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Good to know. Yeah, I might yeah, I'm gonna have to pepper in a few more they thems in my own sort of daily dealings. So um I do have to, I want to roll back quick to the puberty thing because guys growing up, the number one like puberty embarrassment is the voice squeaking out. Did that
Oh
happen to
my
you?
god,
Yeah.
I went through it. I still kind of do like my voice does do a little bit of waviness if I raise
Yeah.
it, especially. It's like if I raise my voice, it'll just like crack at the top.
It's
And
the worst. Yeah.
actually, this one was awful to go through as a 30-year-old. It's
Yeah.
not fun. Like I would have way rather had to go through that in college than at work because if I have to raise my voice and like I work in a field where things are loud, like on the floor, there's just machines running. You have to
Yeah.
yell over them usually when you're talking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I would have to raise my voice over the machines, it would be cracking all the time. It literally just sounded like I was a 15-year-old boy, and
Brutal.
it was terrible.
Yeah, it never goes away. You just think about it less, but it's just like
Yeah, no, I kind of like flex my throat a little bit so I don't crack it as much, but it is tough.
yeah, right. So, oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing, like throat flexing. Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to so I'm gonna run through a few cliche guy questions one after the other. So here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So now that you're a man, do you find that you hold stupid, you are always, but now that you're a man, do you find that you hold stupid grudges for no reason?
Um, you know, I I did initially, and then I just kind of I've like learned to how to deal with like control, like letting go of things and like practicing kind of like a things are as they are kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, because that definitely helps with that because you let go of a lot of like grudges and stuff by doing that. But initially, like you go through a lot of introspective things of like who did this to you, who made you this way, or like uh, stuff like
Wow.
that. And you let it go because you just kind of have to. I guess maybe that's like a part of being born a girl is like I have that side of it. I don't know, but I didn't even know that was like a man trait to hold grudge.
I I think it is. I mean, glad I asked that one. When you do your work, do you ever feel like you're the only good worker in the history of humankind?
Sometimes.
Do you have do you have a favorite beer, and if so, what is it?
My favorite beer has always been Shipyard Pumpkinhead. That has always been my favorite beer. But I actually now my favorite beer, and I don't know if this is like a man thing, but I
I
definitely
don't.
went through a beer phase for the past like 3 months where I was just like, oh yeah, craft beer,
Yeah.
and I was buying all this like shitty beer. Like, wow, this is great. And then
Yeah.
as it was like, this is awful.
I don't know if it's a gender thing either, but yeah, I went through a craft beer phase where I was just like, it's from Maryland,
Yeah.
like I have to try it. Like,
Wow, this was brewed in the forest of Vermont. I have to. And it's
this was brewed with like the vibrations of like the ultrasound from this person's newborn baby, like coming.
yeah,
uh,
I would say I go for a East Rock brewery is like my go-to now.
where's that?
That's it's in New Haven.
I
It's
love New
like
Haven.
it's very close to where I live actually, because I'm in Hamden, so I'm like really close to East Rock.
Right, yeah. If you're just joining us, I'm from Connecticut. Most of my guests are from Connecticut. Trying to diversify, but right now, I mean, New Haven's great. It's gonna blow up huge, and nothing I say is gonna change that anyway. So,
Oh yeah.
um, uh, do you find do you find yourself having random stress dreams about going to prison for no reason?
I, I have not had that, no.
Okay. Uh, Sweet. um,
It's like, no, okay, just you then.
it's just me. Well, apparently it's a common stress dream in general. I don't know. Currently, the leading cause of death for both men and women in America is heart disease. What is up with that?
I could get that because Okay, so one of the things for testosterone, if you take it like I do, is you have to
Hmm.
get blood work done every 6 months because testosterone itself can increase your chances of like heart disease or like hypertrophy or hypertension. Sorry,
Whoa.
and I guess testosterone just kind of can make your body more stressed out, like in general.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I didn't know about hypertension at all.
yeah, it can so like I think heart attacks and stuff like that are a lot more common in men because of testosterone. And like your levels of testosterone. So
Mm.
like I have that stuff monitored thankfully because heart disease is actually like a genetic thing in my family. So like all the
Wow.
men in my family have had some kind of like heart problem. So
Oh,
luckily I get that stuff monitored because of that, but I think most guys should go get blood work done so that they know about that stuff.
okay. Yeah.
My cholesterol is like constantly under scrutiny because of it. So
Yeah. It's funny, like, I was I actually like fell into the trap. I've just been putting off my blood work appointment for no reason. And I went the last time I went to get blood work done, I think they had to like, actually like go into a vein or something to draw blood. And I was like, I said, like, when I was like 8, like, and I got blood work done, I was fine. Like, and and like I didn't even mind if I was donating blood or something. And now I like really hate it. And like the doctor was like, yeah, a lot of people say that to me actually. So like I don't know if it's like maybe like I don't know what it is. If you're just like maybe just like it's my veins like when you're older or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, right on. That was great. I wouldn't have known that. So how do you feel about yoga then?
I mean, yoga's dope. I don't do it as much, but
Me
I've been meaning to get into it because
Yeah.
stretching is good. Uh, chilling out is good.
Mhm.
I do meditate like regularly as
Nice.
like a just calming sort of thing. I'm just a stressed out person in general, so like I try to not be.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, aren't we all? But like, so you have a meditation routine. You're supposed to like let thoughts like pass through or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you ever find that like certain thoughts pass through again and again while you're meditating?
Oh, all the time, for sure. I constantly have like the just same anxieties, same worries. Almost whenever I have anxiety or worry, it's always the same shit. Just sometimes it comes in a different form, but like for the
Mm,
most part, it's just like I got to do this.
yeah,
I didn't do this thing. Now I'm gonna
right.
fuck out about it,
Yeah,
and so I need to chill. So when I meditate, usually it's like, that kind of stuff is
right. Do
just
you have
really.
like, was there a thought that like wasn't stress based that like floated into your head when you were meditating? You're like, oh, that was nice. Like, do you remember anything like that?
No, I don't usually remember stuff like that. I guess it really just is kind of a daily like whatever's bothering me that day kind of thing. Um, no, I haven't had a lot of like obsession kind of things. Not in like a bit. But if I get hung up on something, it will be there for at least a week until I like explode about it or have a meltdown about it. In like a non-violent way, but like in a
Yeah,
like down way where I'm like, God, everything sucks because of this
everything.
one thing that I didn't say to anybody, and here I am having a meltdown about it.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's good to know I'm not the only one. Seriously, yeah,
Oh no, not
that's
definitely.
like that is like so in line with my own personality map. It's crazy. Um Today, oh, have you bought an electric guitar in the past year?
Wow, no, I haven't.
But
Um,
you want to, right?
I really want to relearn how to play guitar because I used to be like so about it in like
Yeah.
school and college, and that was kind of like one of the things I wanted to do this during quarantine was like just get YouTube going and like relearn all that shit.
Yeah.
But it's
I'm okay. That's really fun. It's tough. Yeah. Um, I like I can just play standard, and like play is like a strong word, but like you know I have the ever since college actually I have these kicks where I'll play and practice, like I want to be the next so and so um for like 3-4 months.
yeah,
um it's time to change the strings for the guitar. That's when I quit. That's when I always like quit.
that's
uh
what I do.
yeah. Nice. So
Like my bottom string broke off. I didn't touch the guitar for like 5 years.
you can still play with that bottom string though. Do you have a top three guitar players while we're on the subject?
I mean, don't mean to toot my own name here, but Randy Rhoads was the shit when I was younger. That was like always my go-to favorite guitar player.
Okay,
Him, Jimmy Page was awesome. Uh,
nice.
those were kind of like my two favorites, I would say. And then
Right on.
like bands here and there. I never got like super like into the guitar players of certain bands, but like Jimmy Page was always like super sick.
Nice. I really appreciate that you only picked two.
Yeah,
There is no third. Yeah.
best
Um,
bands.
I'm I'm glad you double back to your name, because I was curious about this. I missed this one. You changed your name from Miranda to Randy. Were you ever choosing from a list of names, a larger list of names?
No, so I actually the reason I went with Randy was because everybody close in my life had already been calling me Randy. Um
Nice.
I had been also nicknamed that by my grandpa when I was like younger, so all my family was already calling me that, and it just felt much more correct. And I also like nothing has felt names are weird. Nothing has felt right for me like personally, just like I'm not cool with any names that I just like pick.
Yeah.
I'm I almost went with Russell because that was what my mom was gonna name me when I was born. If I was born like a boy, name was gonna be
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I it's just so dramatic when you go from Miranda, to
Yeah.
and nobody's ever seen me as a Miranda either. It's a
Mm,
even when I was
yeah.
like a lesbian, it was like, what the fuck? Like you don't look like a Miranda to me. Is what everybody.
Yeah. Names are weird. I'm glad you
They are
mentioned that.
really weird.
They
They're
definitely are. Yeah. I always wondered if my I've always wondered, because like basically I got my middle name, which is Henry, because it was like a debate between my parents whether it was gonna be Will or Henry, and then Will won out. And so I've always wondered, what if my first name was Henry? Like totally different life, like so
yeah, for
but
real.
yeah, big time. And so yeah, glad you mentioned that. And then oh shoot, I had another question in this lineup, but I'm forgetting it, so whatever. Today's yeah, t- today is February 12th, 2021. Do you have any plans for Valentine's Day?
Um, it's tough because we can't really go
Go
anywhere.
anywhere? Yeah.
Really. Um, so what me and my partner do, she she ordered me the well, actually, we have a tradition where I get every year these chocolates that are like special made vegan chocolates from a place called Vegan Treats. They
Oh,
kind of
cool.
like they make like a really punk like art kind of like chocolate heart, and then they fill it with all these like crazy pretty chocolates that are like like skeletons or like kind of like
Whoa.
weird, like Halloween kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I order those, and we just like fucking eat chocolate, and and she ordered like macaroons like online. There's like this really dope company that so we just basically treat ourselves to the fullest.
Nice. I love macaroons, man.
We don't do any like stereotypical stuff. But we would go like we might go for a drive to like Vermont just to drive and then like go outside somewhere
That's
just
a great one.
get some freaking air like because we haven't had time to go anywhere. Um,
I literally might do
food
that.
and right
I might
like
go to Vermont for Valentine's Day. That would be sick.
yeah, and
Awesome.
you don't even have to like go anywhere. You just
Yeah.
drive up like road
Oh,
trip. All
I
right.
was on I was actually on my way to New Hampshire and and I I had to stop in Vermont for gas and I was like, this is the best. I was like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm at a gas station in Vermont. Like I bought like maple syrup and they had this insane maple syrup like display inside this random gas station in the middle of nowhere.
That's what
um,
we do too. Like we'll go up to Vermont and like we're just like, yo, let's pull over at this random like scenic view on this strange like road that we just turned on because we felt like it, and we're like,
yeah.
whoa, there's cows here. Like,
these are these are Vermont cows. This is a
whoa,
special moment.
whose cows are these? Like,
That's awesome. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Oh shoot. Oh, I remember my question. I might have asked this already or something, but do you do you even still consider yourself gay now, or is it just like what?
I don't know. No, but also like yes, in a weird way.
Yeah.
Me and my partner started dating 4 years ago, or a little more than that, and I was a lesbian when I met her. You know, I was like straight up lesbian, and like it's weird because there's still like strange lesbian relationship stereotypes that like we still experience or like
Whoa.
it's in our experiences. So like we have, you know, strange relatability to lesbians, but at the
Hmm.
same time, like I look like a dude, so like we can pass in a cis situation, um,
Wow.
where I'm like just her weird short boyfriend, and then like, but then it's like we fit into the gay scene really well because I'm trans and
Hmm.
she was dating a girl at the time, though we were both kind of like we're non-binary kind of where we just like we
Yeah.
just are, and
Yeah.
she also doesn't like identify with like being a girl. She's very much like separated from uh like gendered a girl gendered experience. So like it was it was interesting. It's really hard to like part with some of that, but it's almost kind of like we have to accept it because sometimes it doesn't look right, but other times
Wow.
it's totally right. So it's
Right. Right.
very weird.
What what is a lesbian stereotype that I might not know? Because
Um, well, I mean, there's always the big one of like a lesbian relationship burns bright and burns hard when you first start. Like they call it like a U-Haul lesbians, for example, is like
whoa.
you like the second week of dating, or it's some really quick time in comparison to like a heterosexual relationship where you're just like, wow, we know everything about each other, we're moving in, like, and then you just like take it from there. But a year later you're married, like you have kids and you've only been like together for 2 years or something. like, like we're not married, we have a house together. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very lesbian relationship.
Actually, my well, not on that same timeline, but my brother got a house before he got married. So,
Oh, okay.
but
So that's like an anomaly for like a heterosexual relationship is like to just hit it off and burn hard. Um, another
I
lesbian.
I think you're grading heterosexual relationships too highly.
Maybe,
But,
maybe
I
I
mean,
am. know.
But yeah, like yeah, no, like I think growing up as a as a male, like whatever, and like like yeah, no, I remember being like explicitly told not to get married before 25.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I still kind of think that was good advice.
I mean, like, yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it's good advice, but then like other times you're just like, where did this come from, and like, why do I have this random constraint on my life? You know,
Big time.
I get that like a lot of like say
Big
our parents'
time.
generation, they are
Mhm.
trying to keep us from making mistakes that we regret or something, but at the
Yeah.
same time, doing that kind of makes you sheltered and closed off. So like, so I have to tell
Yeah.
myself this a lot to just like wing it and say my feelings or like whatever. Because like I'll forget to express something I feel, and then like this person doesn't know this thing, and I have to like constantly tell myself
Yeah.
that.
They have no idea that like when you were 8 years old, like you just met a stranger who like screamed something insane and you believed it ever since. Yeah. Like, um,
My parents were like that too. They told me a lot of shit like that, and I'm just
yeah.
like, well, why though?
When I was 23, I was dating a really great girl, and or lady or whatever, and my grandmother, who was like a Mary Poppins clone, said to me, "You're too young to settle down," or something like that. You never know. I was like, I can't. I think about that now. I was like, I can't believe that she said that. And then,
Mary Poppins of all people, and you were over here taking advice from Mary Poppins. Like,
yeah, she
damn, I better.
must be right.
She would know.
She has to know. Yeah. Um, that was Randy. This is great. So just for fun, there are a lot of TV shows that play around with the concept of the four elements, and I just want to say that nobody owns this concept of the four elements, and I don't think anybody should. Now that I've said that, if you had to pick from the four elements from television of wind, water, fire, or earth to wield as your own, which one would you pick?
Oh, I'm definitely Earth, and yes, I have had this conversation with people for sure, and that that it's like as soon as you said that, I knew, and in my head I went, which am I? And I went, yo, I'm a fucking Virgo. Like that's Earth right there. Like
Yeah,
I've always been Earth, ground, whatever, grounded as
yeah.
hell. Which, by the way, is another lesbian stereotype for lesbian relationships.
That you're grounded?
No, no, that you do it off your astrological sign. You know, first question you ask somebody you're about to date, what's your sign? Got to know
Oh.
compatible with you.
I don't want to waste any time.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck around here. Like, I'm actually dating a Gemini, and a Gemini and a Virgo like is honestly the worst combination. And I wish I asked her that before I started dating. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, yeah. Is it just like, before I found out you were a Virgo, everything was fine.
It's like, oh shit, everything makes sense. Like, why? Oh, you're crazy. You're a Gemini. It all makes sense. I wish I knew that beforehand. Like,
I'm a Libra. I'm so sick of it. I hate it. I don't want to balance any more anything. It's the worst. All right, Randy, this was super fun. Really fun. I'm glad you came on. Um,
good to talk to you. I mean, I had a good time.
Big time. We should stay in touch. I would definitely, when things are safer, we should do something.
You're
Big time.
still in Connecticut, right?
Yeah, still in Connecticut. I I I don't know what's gonna happen. I have a friend who was moved to Rhode Island, moved back to Connecticut, and he's like plotting you know, his next state. Yeah. Like, but so I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if like I don't know when the next move will be, and like, like if I should or like when, like none of that. But yeah, yeah, still in Connecticut for now. Cool. Randy, this was super fun.
Yeah.
I, I
Time.
like honestly because you said you had a 4-day 10-hour week.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Like
do 10-hour days instead of 5 8 hours. So I have Mondays off. So I have a 3-day weekend every week, which is nice.
that's my dream 100% is the
For
four
real?
day
Yeah.
the 4-day work week. That's my dream. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to achieve.
I mean, the 10 hours sucks, but it can go really quick and it's a lot easier to do while I'm working from home.
Yeah,
After that, I'm sure everybody's going to throw a fit because everybody hates it. Like
yeah.
in person, it would suck. It's fine right now because we're not in person. So,
I mean, yeah, there's like addictive stuff in the workday for sure, right?
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right on. All right, very cool, Randy. Thanks for your time, man. And I'll definitely say hello soon. Thanks for coming
Yeah.
on.
I'll see you later.
See you later, man.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bye.